Okay. Psychopath! Yeah, blood in your hands! If you're not vegan, you're an animal abuser! Watch Dominion on YouTube for the truth! Listen to their screams! Animal abusers! Total losers!
If a pregnant woman is murdered, do you think it's just for a judge to charge the criminal with 2 murders, one for the woman and the other for the baby in her womb?
I absolutely do.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. If the boyfriend of a woman and father of the child doesn't want to raise a baby, does he have the right to kill that baby if the baby's unwanted?
Absolutely not.
No, he don't.
He does not have a right to kill a baby, no.
No.
If someone slips a pregnant woman an abortion pill that causes her to miscarry and she doesn't know it's an abortion pill, do you think that person should be charged?
Yes.
What do you think they should be charged with?
Murder.
First-degree murder.
Murder. So it's homicide in these cases if it's the man that's causing it, but not if the woman that's causing it.
In her case, she knows that she wanted it and she took the pill to do it. So
If that person's being killed, do you think it matters to him or her who's doing the killing, or are they being murdered regardless?
They're being murdered regardless. So yeah.
So do you think it's a homicide in both cases?
Whoever the killer is should get it.
This is what you call cognitive dissonance. In all the other situations, they understand that as a human life, but for some reason, women seem to have this invisible privilege that they're able to do something that other people can't do. Make it make sense.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I don't understand what is so hard about correcting other people when they misgender others. Like, it takes you like 2 seconds, but you know what it takes for me to have to constantly do that? A lot of fucking unnecessary emotional labor that I already have to take on a daily basis just to fucking exist and be who I am. But you don't have the energy to speak up and say something on my behalf? And I just have to keep white-knuckling this?
It's funny how these people will use emotional manipulation to try and change your belief to go along with the nonsense that they believe in. I live in reality and I like to believe in reality, so that's what I'm going to stick with. If you want to believe in fairy tales and Santa Claus, you can do that, but don't try and force me to believe in the nonsense that you believe in and try and compromise my belief all because of your feelings.
If you can change your gender, can you change your race?
No,
Why?
because that's just how you're born.
Isn't your gender how you're also just born?
Yeah, I see where you're getting with.
No, you can't change your race. Race is your roots, where you were born with from, ages ago. So I think
Isn't your gender what you're born with too?
that's true, but I think it's a different, like...
What are your pronouns?
Pronouns?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't get it. What are my pronouns? Alright, cut real quick.
I'm that man.
Risk taker. Hustler.
Pizza?
Seafood. Hamburgers, I guess.
How many genders are there?
72.
It's hard to know, really. It's changing all the time. So, your species is evolving that rapidly. Remarkable. Perhaps while you are sitting here, you will grow additional limbs or develop the ability to breathe underwater. No, that's not what we meant. It's too bad. So, what are these genders, and how do they function? Function? I don't understand. Why, yes. On my planet, the female gender is the giver of life, raising and nurturing our young, preserving our civilization for eons to come, while the males mostly just mow our space lawns and make multiple trips to space home people.
What you are talking about is sex. Gender is something different.
Exactly. People can identify with genders different than their natal sex, or with none at all. But why? It's just the way we feel.
No! It's the way we're born.
Well, of course, a lot of times they don't realize how they were born until someone tells them. Someone like a teacher or social media influencer. Oh, I understand. On this planet, there are people who are men, and people who are women, and people who are mentally ill.
Just curious of your definition. If you feel like people are adults at 16.
No, people are adults at 18, but actually your brain is not fully developed until you're 25. So we should be having a conversation about whether we should even be doing these surgeries to people at 18. But certainly before 18, it's absurd. I mean, do you think that a 16-year-old can meaningfully consent to having their body parts removed? Do you? No?
We do not. Yeah, we ask the questions. It's not.
Can you give us a summary of your educational background? I'm just curious. You've testified as to a lot of your own research. So I'm curious for what purpose you do that and what background you have to qualify you to speak to that.
Well, my background that qualifies me to speak to this is that I'm a human being with a brain and I have a soul. And so therefore I think it's a really bad idea to chemically castrate children. That is my experience.
They let all of these surgeries be done to 13, 15, 14-year-olds. But if you were to tell them, can these same 13, 14, and 15-year-olds get tattoos? I'm sure they'll say no. Make it make sense.
What is the first word that comes to your mind when you look at me?
Hey, Georgie. Want a balloon? Want a float? Want a balloon, Georgie?
Before we get back into the video, I need everyone to turn on their post notifications so that you get notified whenever one of my videos come out. Like the video as much as possible, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow me on Twitter at YinkaThatGuy. Let us get back into the video.
You identify as they, them, is that correct?
Yeah,
so non-binary.
I am they, them.
So if you consider yourself they, them, or non-binary, why did you feel the need to have to remove your breasts? Because breasts would relate to that of a female. But if you're non-binary, and a lot of trans activists tend to say that, you know, gender is a social construct, why did you need to remove them?
That's a super personal medical question. I'm happy to answer it, but it's something that gave me discomfort, something that I, for a long time, found uncomfortable with my body and had the opportunity to rectify. And so I did that with the guidance of clinicians and medical staff. In a similar way, you know, lots of people would argue everyone needs to love their bodies exactly as they are, as they were born. Everyone's perfect in their own way. And I agree with that. But, you know, women still, or men, or people of all genders still get, you know, minor cosmetic surgery to feel a little bit more themselves, and people don't question that. Things like lip fillers or Botox, things like that. And nobody really bats an eyelid.
Despite the board's attempt to deny it, schools are quickly becoming a place where promoting activism is actually more important than promoting education. There are political signs all over RHS about specific races that matter, specific sexual orientations that matter, but when I questioned the RHS administration about how these signs were political, they told me that they were supporting human rights. So when I questioned why the equity statement couldn't represent all students, they told me that to even ask that question was outlandish and offensive. They told me, quote, "Whites have a pretty good situation right now," unquote. So is that not racism? Disregarding my question merely because of the color of my skin. To be honest, after enduring a year of the people in charge telling me that I'm a racist and I'm privileged, I've never noticed race more. Now, members of the board, I want you to take a good look at yourselves in the mirror tonight and ask, are you really standing up for the equality of all people, or are you just pushing a damaging political ideology on our students?
The woke don't care about education anymore. They care about pushing their agenda and forcing you to believe in the nonsense that they believe in. That's all it really is.
Well, I'm a women's boxer now. Did you hear the good news? USA Boxing just announced that men can box in the women's division. That's right. I can just punch women in the face now and everyone's all right with it. Well, not just any man can compete in the women's division. Only men who lack the mental stability to not understand what their actual gender is, like me. Because if you're going to have men committing violence against women, I think mentally unstable men are the safest ones to do it. I've been boxing for 20 years now. I took it up when I was a kid. Oh, I should also tell you, I'm a woman now too. I took that up last week.
That's the world that we live in right now, and he makes complete sense.
Why is it so important for white people to tell blacks that you're oppressed? I must be an anomaly.
So
hold on,
important.
let me finish.
No,
hold on, let me
come
finish.
on, preach us. Tell us our oppression. Please, sir, come up. Please.
There hasn't been a white man looming in the dark telling me that I can't do any of this stuff. Anytime I take personal responsibility for the things that I do, and because I do that, I'm able to identify my mistakes and make changes in my behavior or my actions to improve myself. Okay?
Thank you.
That's where it's important. But see, I don't understand it. I wanted to ask this gentleman.
Tell us.
So based on what I just said, And what he said earlier, I'm an anomaly, but I'm standing right here. And I came from a single parent mother who didn't have anything, okay? So I had the opportunity to make decisions, good choices or bad choices. Every bad choice that I've made in my life, I can trace back to my responsibility. I don't blame it on anybody but myself.
And that is how you win in this country.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's because it's easy to complain about everything, especially when the whole world is telling you that you are not privileged. It's an easy thing to do. It's hard to put in the work and it's easy to complain. There's a saying that goes, winners celebrate while losers try to explain.
Can you explain what an incel is? So an incel is just like someone who is involuntarily celibate. That loser sitting on Reddit for 23 hours a day with Cheetah dust and empty Mountain Dew cans all around them. And it just has a real stank smell that is involved with these people. I'm just gonna paint you an image, and like the fedora's a little crusty, and the neck beard is strong, but the facial hair is weak, and there's a bald spot in the back, and you could just see the fedora just hanging on for dear life. And he's sitting there muttering under his breath about how Jessica Alba's ugly.
Right.
You know,
literally,
like, that's what you're talking about.